Hi everyone, it's Elise. I wanted to take the opportunity to give you a quick video update on an issue that affects far too many families in our North Country community. Friends, heroin and opioid abuse is plaguing our region, and it is a challenge we must tackle head-on. I've heard countless heartbreaking stories from families throughout our community who have lost loved ones to this epidemic. I've heard outrage from parents struggling to find treatment for their children. I've heard despair from many across the North Country who see no end in sight. And while local law enforcement and prosecutors have worked to attack the availability of these substances, our laws have unfortunately not kept pace. As a member of the bipartisan heroin task force in Congress, I am working hard with my colleagues to find solutions to the heroin and opioid epidemic that is tragically affecting our community. I've held forums in the district to discuss this crisis with families, law enforcement, and health officials, and I am working with a bipartisan group of our upstate New York colleagues to elevate this issue. Together with my colleagues, we've taken what we've learned from our local communities with us to Congress. Tackling this epidemic requires a multifaceted approach, and we're working on proactive solutions. This is why I've advocated for an increase in funding for prevention and prescription drug monitoring programs, which was delivered as part of the bipartisan budget agreement and signed into law. To support our law enforcement communities, I'm supporting bipartisan legislation that makes it simpler to ban synthetic substances designed to mimic illegal drugs. I also want to give law enforcement the flexibility it needs to crack down on manufacturers and sellers. Finally, I am working to ensure that every individual who seeks treatment for heroin or opioid addiction is able to receive it. I have advocated for legislation to allow qualified healthcare professionals to treat a greater number of patients suffering from addiction and put them on the road to long-term recovery. While these efforts address some of the issues our communities face in combating this problem, our work is just beginning. Our communities and our nation have begun to focus on this issue, and we must seize the momentum and reverse this tragic epidemic. Thank you for listening.